Let's be honest. Most people today are miserable, not because they don't have enough, but because they don't know what enough means anymore. We have more comfort, convenience, and opportunity than any generation in history, yet anxiety, depression, and emptiness are at record highs. We chase happiness in money, relationships, status, followers, likes, and still end up wondering, why does it all feel so hollow? 2,000 years ago, a man named Epictetus, born a slave, crippled, poor, and with nothing to his name, somehow found more peace than most billionaires do today. He wasn't free in body, but his mind was untouchable. And in this video, we're going to explore what Epictetus would say about modern misery, why we create our own suffering, and how to finally free ourselves from it. Part 1. The root of misery. Epictetus believed misery doesn't come from the world. It comes from our desires and expectations. He said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." Think about that for a second. It's not the traffic jam that makes you miserable. It's your judgment that it shouldn't exist. It's not your job that breaks you. It's your belief that you deserve a better one by now. The Stoics saw misery as a kind of mental illusion, a story we tell ourselves about how life should be, instead of how it is. And here's the truth. Misery thrives in that gap between expectation and reality. The bigger the gap, the deeper the misery. Epictetus would say, you suffer because you think the universe owes you something. But the universe owes you nothing. Harsh? Maybe. But that realization is also the beginning of real peace. Part 2. The slave who was freer than his masters. To understand Epictetus, you have to know his story. He was born into slavery in Rome. His master, Epictetus, was a wealthy official under Emperor Nero, a man notorious for cruelty. One story says his master twisted his leg during torture, and when Epictetus calmly said, "If you continue, you will break it," the man did. And Epictetus simply replied, "Did I not tell you so?" From that moment, Epictetus lived by a truth most people never discover. You can lose everything, but no one can take your peace if your mind is free. He later gained freedom, opened a philosophy school, and taught Roman nobles how to live with virtue and serenity. Imagine that. A former slave teaching senators and generals how to find peace. That's not luck. That's mastery. Part 3. The disease of modern comfort. Epictetus would probably look at our world and shake his head in disbelief. We've cured diseases, built machines to wash our clothes, order our food, and even park our cars. Yet our minds are restless. He would say, you are not suffering from poverty, you are suffering from attachment, because comfort, when misunderstood, becomes a prison. The more we depend on external things for happiness, the more fragile we become. Lose your phone, panic. Lose your Wi-Fi, anger. Lose someone's approval, misery. Epictetus warned against this kind of slavery. He said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. It's not wrong to enjoy things. The problem is needing them to feel okay. Modern misery comes from mistaking comfort for freedom. But true freedom, Epictetus taught, is inner independence, the ability to be calm no matter what happens outside you. Part 4. Control and the art of letting go. If you could summarize all of Epictetus's wisdom in one sentence, it would be this. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. That's the Stoic dichotomy of control. It sounds simple, but it's the key to escaping misery. The problem is, most of us live backwards. We spend 90% of our energy worrying about things we can't control, other people's behavior, the past, the future, the economy, and almost no energy on what we can control. Our thoughts, our choices, our character. Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. Misery begins the moment we resist reality. Letting go doesn't mean apathy. It means refusing to waste your peace on things beyond your reach. You can't control how someone treats you, but you can control your reaction. You can't control the market, but you can control your spending. You can't control the weather, but you can control your attitude toward the day. That's what it means to live as a Stoic, to release the illusion of control and master the response. Part 5. The myth of, I'll be happy when. Epictetus would laugh at one of the most common modern lies. I'll be happy when I make more money. When I move to a better place. When I meet the right person. When my life finally looks the way I imagined. But the Stoics would say, if you can't be content with what you have now, you'll never be content with what comes next. Seneca put it this way, no man is unhappy who thinks himself free. And Epictetus added, he who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at. In other words, happiness is not about fixing life, it's about fixing your perception. Epictetus would say, you are miserable because you are chasing external control instead of internal mastery. Every time you tell yourself you need something outside yourself to be happy, you hand over your peace like a gift to the world, and the world will always lose it. Part 6. The discipline of desire. To Epictetus, desire wasn't evil, it was natural. The danger comes when desire controls you instead of the other way around. He said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. That's why the Stoics practiced what they called voluntary discomfort, sleeping on the floor, fasting, walking in the cold, not to suffer, but to train the mind to be content with less. They knew, when you can endure discomfort, you become unbreakable. Imagine how much misery would disappear if you stopped needing life to be perfect before you could be peaceful. As Epictetus taught, seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are. That is not resignation. That's acceptance, the purest form of strength. Part 7. How to apply this today. Here's how you can begin applying Epictetus's wisdom right now, in 3 simple but powerful steps. 1. Practice the pause. When something upsets you, don't react immediately. Pause and ask, is this within my control? That question alone can dissolve half of your misery. 2. Reframe the story. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Say, what is this trying to teach me? Pain becomes purpose when you give it meaning. 3. Detach with gratitude. At the end of each day, remind yourself, everything you have, your health, your loved ones, your time, is temporary. Appreciate it while it's here, and you'll stop clinging when it changes. This is not about cold detachment. It's about warm awareness. When you stop clinging, you start living. Part 8. The Stoic definition of happiness. So what does it actually mean to be happy? Epictetus gave one of the most profound answers in history. Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. In other words, happiness isn't something you chase, it's something you uncover when you stop fighting what is. When your desires align with reality, misery ends. Imagine walking through life with that calm certainty, knowing that nothing external can disturb your peace unless you allow it. That's not just philosophy. That's freedom. Part 9. The modern test of Stoicism. We live in a world Epictetus couldn't have imagined: social media, consumerism, endless comparison. But the Stoic challenge is the same. Can you stay centered in a world that profits from your distraction? The Stoic life is rebellion, not against others, but against your own impulses. Every time you scroll mindlessly, envy someone online, or complain about something trivial, you have a chance to practice what Epictetus taught: to return to reason. To remember what you can control. To remain calm while the world spins faster. That's what makes Stoicism timeless. It's not about escaping modern life. It's about mastering yourself within it. Part 10. the final freedom. Epictetus began as a slave, but he ended as a free man, not because someone gave him freedom, but because he learned that freedom is a state of mind. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's the Stoic definition of liberation. You are miserable only as long as you remain a prisoner of desire, comparison, and resistance. But the moment you stop trying to control what isn't yours to control, misery collapses. The chains fall off, not from your wrists, but from your thoughts. So what would Epictetus say to you, right now, if you told him you were miserable? He'd probably smile and say, "You suffer because you want what is not yours to command." And then he'd remind you that peace begins the moment you stop fighting reality. When you let go of the need for life to be perfect, something incredible happens. You become free to enjoy it exactly as it is. That's the Stoic path. That's the freedom Epictetus lived and died by. And if a slave in ancient Rome could find peace in chains, then maybe, just maybe, so can we.